somehow we all ended up here. We don't know how. Like it's just a miracle. I still that's the one mystery I feel like I'll never solve.
Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman.
Jonathan, so glad to be with you again today. It's been a little while since we've chatted, but we got some really powerful shifts to help people move into.
Yeah, Dan, it's always epic to talk with you, and I'm excited to talk about bringing Shambhala to the planet, heaven on earth. It's right around the corner.
Awesome. Now, I mean, I've been just so impressed by you, the level of training. You've got such an amazing mind, and the way you're able to remember information and then, engineer it this way and that way and to present it is amazing. And I hope that the audience agrees. I'm sure they will. So you talk about these three big shifts to Shambhala in 2025. First of all, let's start off with what the heck is Shambhala anyway? I mean, some people have heard of it, some people know what it is, but some people don't. What is Shambhala?
I mean, I think it's this universal aspiration that we all know is possible in our heart. I think the Christians, Christ was saying heaven on earth. It's the Buddhist version of that. So it's just, I mean, yeah, it's about, I think it's really moving towards peace, where we honor each other. I mean, my view, I love thinking about spirituality. And interestingly enough, I was 15 years ago, I was just reflecting, I was agnostic. And then it was actually Ken Wilber who got me into spirituality. And then I started getting into all kinds of spirituality. And I started falling in love with all of the religions and even science. I'm a nerd. I like to look at all the details of everything. And so I actually have a story that we're all God and that we're all just God talking to each other. And I think peace involves that, like where we just really respect each other and be like, hey, somehow we all ended up here. We don't know how. Like it's just a miracle. I still that's the one mystery I feel like I'll never solve is that how did anyone get here? And when we just like go into compassion, just like Daniel, just like me, somehow ended up in a body and is here and trying to make the best of it. And we open our hearts to compassion and we start there. That life is a gift. That really brings the energy up and the
Yeah.
doorways of compassion.
Yeah, and throughout this event, I want to bring it up, the backdrop of what's happening, which I know, is interesting to you with things happening in the world,
Mm,
whether it's recently acts of, I guess, terrorism, and
mm.
also with elections or what, wars. I mean, there's just so many things. We could go on and on,
Hmm.
all the different things going on in the
Yeah.
world, right? But when we allow ourselves to not allow the conditions to become our energy, and we allow ourselves to have more kindness and compassion towards everything,
Hmm.
it's kind of part of it, right? I mean, because I know that's part of you. I'm still getting ahead of myself here, but I know that's one of your big shifts there. Right? That's
Yeah, well, if you want to talk about shift number one, I'm
yeah,
gonna I want to talk about energy first.
yes, yes.
Because I feel like the energy that we bring, and not just there's two things. There's energy level, and then there's flavor of energy. So what do I mean by flavor? I mean, for example, am I bringing enthusiasm, or am I being like a victim, like everything, like you were saying, are we a victim of our circumstances, or are we like, hey, it's a gift to be alive, and I get to decide what to make up of it? Like that's in our control. We can
Mhm.
decide how to receive information and make the most of it. And a lot of people don't realize it. A lot of people are just in the flow of life and they're used to doing it. They don't think, hey, wait a second, I'm the observer, I'm the witness, and I can choose what energy to bring. And so a lot of things I teach with my clients and everyone I want to spread to the world is practices of raising our energy. And so getting attention to what kind of energetics are we using. My teacher, Donnie Epstein, has this thing called EpiEnergetics, and it's the ecological use of energy and information to produce the extraordinary. And he's the one who really hammered it home. It's best to start with energy and realize your energy. And he has a whole lexicon of distinctions of energy that are really make a lot of sense. And when you start to recognize, like, hey, am I in my lower mind where I'm judging things right or wrong, good or bad, or am I in my upper mind where I'm looking at things from all different kinds of perspectives? And when I want to help people realize that they have that choice and that ability when they give themselves a little bit of extra energy. Maybe they're judging life is wrong or this moment is wrong. But what if they move up to get a little more energy and they get into their upper mind and they're able to see it from multiple perspectives? You mentioned a lot of different things that were happening. I'm getting to just comment on the election, for example. Forget about who you wanted to win or not. Trump's in. I don't know. I have taken the position that, whatever happened is what's meant to happen because it did, it
Right.
happened, right? And so
Right.
it's up to us to make the most of it. And so I think that's an empowering position. And I want to invite other people to give themselves permission and give them the tools so that they can do that too.
Yeah, how can it be a blessing to my life, regardless? It's like that's what's so crazy to me about something like a Trump type of thing, like
Hmm.
whatever it is. Like ISIS is just taking control of the world. Let's say if you think they're the evil ones, or
Hmm.
Iran or Russia or somebody else, some evil, horrible monster is taking over the world. Okay, still, what? Okay, why is this potentially favorable? Okay, because there's always something that's favorable in it, and when we allow ourselves to
Hmm.
look for it, we start finding like the opportunity in it, right? Like from a higher perspective, because if we see things from a higher perspective, we start to see like the opportunity for more love and compassion, and more like how it could be a blessing, like anything. That's how I see it anyway.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, something is getting me to go into a little bit more about like if someone's doing an act of terrorism, like an ISIS, or it's because they've made someone wrong. They may use the word evil, and
Mhm.
good and evil are relative. That's an assessment, it's in a judgment, and it's because, in my opinion, those people are operating. Obviously, those people have a lot of. I want to talk about energetics here. They have a lot of anger and they feel
Mhm.
like other people have done them wrong and they only see one possibility or this is the possibility. They're clearly in their lower mind and they're not very, that's not a very high vibration action, to say the least. So to me, it's about spreading this idea that there is this distinction that we have. The mind is complicated and energy influences the mind. And so I put three things on there, but I want to talk about the second one and how it relates to the first one, which is the second one is mastering our mind. Right. And so the second point is like the mind's pretty complicated. I'm going to be honest with you. My parents are social workers. I grew up with
Mhm.
psychology. I studied psychology minor. I did organizational behavior. Both I have a graduate degree in it. I'm an organizational, so I have a lot of psychology. But I didn't really get the mind at the deepest levels until I got into Tibetan meditation. And in Tibet, people don't realize they were in the mountains for 2,000 years. They weren't attacked, and they were like just they got I don't know they got bored or whatever. Maybe they found it fun to stare at their mind, and they discovered secrets or insights about the mind that are powerfully useful. And so, one of the most important things I think I want people to understand, I'm getting three things related to this. Just compassion. When we talked about being, when we just get born, like we don't even know how. Imagine, like we forget what it was like to be a baby, but we're like, what the fuck? Like we're in this, we're in this body. We don't know what to do. We don't know how to take
Right.
care of ourselves. We're helpless,
Right.
completely helpless and dependent. And there's probably a lot of anxiety there. And so the child actually uses psychological techniques, which I've called defense mechanisms, to help them just cope. And because safety is so important, our identities fuse to these patterns. We need them. But these patterns, they help us. We need them when we're babies, but as we get to adults, they can be a hindrance. So one of the most important things for people to know is like, first off, it's not your fault if you're not flying on all cylinders. This is a human condition. This all of humans have this going on with them. So I want all people to relax and let go of their guilt and forgiveness and shame about anything they feel bad. Because I think a lot of people have a lot of that going on, a lot of self-hatred, and they spend a lot of time either avoiding feeling it or feeling bad. And the key turns out to be is to realize what the Tibetans realize. A lot of people, like some people know about, like Eckhart Tolle talks about now. And I think I
Hmm.
talked about this on this last interview with you, so I'm not going to get into it too depth, but they taught me about shifting my identity to being like the space. outside of me, like the consciousness. And when I do that, then I'm not this defense pattern, and it allows me actually to have more energy. Because
Mhm.
these defense patterns is like an energetic. It's a pattern. It's just called Donnie Epstein called it a survivor pattern. And so
Mhm.
if we want to have more free, when we just become space, there's more free energy, and then the free energy opens up for the more possibilities, so we can get more into the multiple perspectives and see things from a higher order. What if the whole planet knew about this and it was clear that this was going on, and we could just maybe start forgiving everyone and maybe have like a reset, and like just open our hearts to everyone, including ISIS. God knows what kind of pain those people must be in to do that. So I have compassion, and also we got to stop the killing. Like it's got to
Yeah.
do it. So love is another way too. So
Mhm.
so yeah, working
Right.
on our minds, I would say, is the second big leverage point.
Right. I mean, I imagine they if we said, "Well, why are you killing?" They'd be like, "Why are you killing?" Like,
Mm,
right? I
yeah.
mean, probably be part of the answer, right? Anyway, but I know there's more to it than that, but that'd be part of the answer. Uh, yeah.
Well,
I
can I
mean,
say something about that real quick? I just
yeah. Go
or
ahead.
or
Yeah.
just
Totally.
really quick, because I mean a lot of it's like these people are acting out against like government actions and stuff.
Mhm.
We got to get this, like the people have more power than they realize. I actually believe a lot of people feel a victim of government, but I feel like there's a mirroring going on. I
Yeah.
mean, if the people decide like, hey, we actually got to focus on energy and our mind and conflict, and they're only going to vote in candidates like that, trust me, the governments are going to have to conform. So we got to take our power back and realize we actually can do something, and our
Right.
energy matters, our minds matter.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, I mean, just look at the changes that are happening. I mean, here in the U.S., people are celebrating. At the same time, other people are so sad about this Trump thing, and
Hmm.
then people are mourning. Jimmy Carter died recently. Oh, he was the good one, and everything. But I could point to the dark. I've heard people say he was a horrible person at times like that, right? So I mean, we're a mix of all of it. We
Yeah.
all are. Trump
Yes.
isn't black or white, evil or savior. He's neither of those things, right? And neither are Biden or any of these other people. Like they're none of them are. No, they're lizard people. They're the worst. They're just here to destroy us only. Yeah, you see
Right.
how their eyes shifted right there and all this stuff. And I would say there's something much far deeper to it. And if you see things from the eyes of love and compassion, that's what
Hmm.
you'll see. You'll see love. You won't see something you're scared of anymore. You'll
Hmm.
see love. In my opinion, that shifts everything. You
Mm.
can tell me I'm wrong, but it starts to shift everything. So when you're talking about mastering your energy and then master your mind, yeah, like you said, like it's easy once you start learning to master the energy, right? Then your mind is much easier to work with, right? So
Yes.
so how do you it's doubling down on these 2 points, like what do you recommend? I mean, it always gets back to the how,
Mhm.
right? So how do we go about mastering our energy? What are some of the, you mentioned compassion. What are some of the ways we can master our energy?
Yeah. So the biggest thing I'm getting for it on is to take a bigger view, which means most of us are really fixated on what's wrong. Like, I gotta pay these bills, or I gotta figure out this problem, or I'm having this relationship issue. Well, if we start with like, I'm getting like one thing. First off, everything's a gift. I mean, if you go by my story, we're all the ultimate reality trying to figure out life by talking to each other. So this is, I don't know, my story is the origin of the universe is non-existence by some miracle wants to know what existence is, and boom, we're here. And so this is a gift. The present is the presence. So if we celebrate it first, so if we get out of like, oh my God, the first thing is a super negative thought, we start with just like celebrating life. Okay, I'm alive. It's probably things aren't as bad as do it. And sometimes if you ask the question like, okay, this is how I feel now, but what if I was like talk to a future self? So this is a technique anybody can do. It's really simple. Like sure, this is how I feel right now. Let's say I'm pissed about the election or whatever. I would say, how would, Jonathan 5 years in the future think? And, that this is like taking multiple perspectives, right? And so that guy would come up with a perspective, and he'd probably be like, hey, dude, it's like, a lot of shit happens in your life. And so, maybe you're making too big of it. And then maybe ask the question, what do you need to do right now to make your life better? Because I think people what most people do is like super focus on negative, but really what I want to encourage people is, what is your dream? What is your individual dream, and how does it contribute to the collective dream of Shambhala? And then what is the next step you need to do? And what if that's all you focused on, or most of what you focused on? Because I think people getting caught up in the perfect. I mean, it's so easy with social media and TikTok and Instagram. You're like scrolling, you got all this information. But I mean, I think that's good for entertainment. I'm not saying like I still use that stuff, but like only like in blocks. I have my what I'm committed to, and I
Mhm.
block out time for that, and I focus on what do I need to do next. If
Mhm.
I got an interview with Daniel, how am I going to get my energetics right
Yeah.
to master this? Like, how do I master the moment? So if we can get people really focusing their energy on what they need to do in the next moment, and sometimes that means relaxing, like taking a nap or, going on social media or TV, but also like just taking that bigger view, start with like what you want to do. What do you do next? What energies do you need?
Right. Right. So yeah, eating crepes today. I mean, maybe that's the energy I needed.
Yeah.
My daughter made some crepes at lunchtime and she's like, "Do you want some?" I'm like, "Oh my God, like come on." I mean, like I could say no, and like, all right, no, I mean, it's not healthy enough or what. I mean, it had fruit in it, right? It didn't have a lot of excess on it. So, but anyway, bottom line is like it's enjoyable, right? And I
Yeah, we're
literally
gonna have
thought,
fun.
like, will this adversely affect me this afternoon when I have interviews and all this stuff
Hmm.
coming up? I really did think about that. So it's like being mindful of how something will impact you and then making whatever the right choice is for you at the time. The joy, the sense of, giving, receiving love in that moment, like transcended my sense of like, oh, the energetically this isn't good for me or whatever. I was like, okay, I'm eating them. That sounds good to me. And so because I think the mind, also has a lot of rules. Like it's
Hmm.
black and white. This is bad or that's good, and
Right.
in Ayurvedic medicine, right? Coca-Cola could be your savior on one day, right? It really can be. I mean, no, it's no joke. It's for a real deal. Like there's certain things that normally consider poison to your body, it would be your
Hmm.
savior on another day. So I think
Right.
that's another thing we have to consider, like, is to really again getting attuned to what the real truth is for us in each moment. I would say, right?
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's I think you're really bringing me right into the third thing I want to talk about, which is you echoed it so brilliantly, which is about patterns of life. Life has patterns. And I want to talk about one pattern that really you amplified, which is about context. A lot of people just get lost in how they feel, but they don't realize, hey, things are happening in a bigger context. Like you were saying, like I could take the crepe, but how's this going to affect the rest of my day? And you're kind of like seeing like the bigger context and how this fits in. And so
Mhm.
Ken Wilber really taught me about context and really how important it is. And he has I'm gonna get super detailed in it, but he just kind of breaks all of humanness. He says, look, there's all these crazy things going on. He's really good at taking a lot of complexity and making it simple. So he basically says, if you want to be like really understand life in a moment, you'd be like, look at there are four quick areas to quicken. It's like, what's going on in my mind, my consciousness, what's going on from a behavior perspective, my biology, like you were talking about, like how food's going to affect you. What's going on in terms of the culture, like whether it's my home culture or my work culture or the culture of the country I'm in, the mood. And then there's like systems, like what structures, like what's going on in the political system, the weather systems, and etc. And when you start to say like, okay, every moment is affected by these different variables. Because a lot of people like really blame themselves about something or they blame one thing, but they're not taking a bigger picture. The deeper truth is we're affected by a lot of variables. I mean, if you're into like astrology, let's say like the transits are a force, but like also some people overdo it. So here's one of
Mhm.
the big shifts I think is going to be big is this word. I want to bring this word reductionism, where people take all this crazy complexity and they want to make it like, yeah, it's Trump's fault. It's like, oh, it's ISIS's fault. Like, yeah, all right. But the truth is, it's everything is a byproduct of all these different variables. And where you get the freedom, the empowerment is to try and figure out which of the variables are affecting you and which ones can you actually control. And those are the leverage points. And we want people to discover those and to use them for their benefit. I mean, I'm all about making individual and collective dreams come true. So two areas you definitely are, even three areas, all of three things is one, you can have control over your energy. You can control about perspective taking, and I would do energy first because that's the better energies you're using, the better your ability to taking perspectives. And then once you got that upper mind going on, then to study the patterns of life. Like my background, one of my backgrounds is in change management. So change goes, if you want to make a big change in your life, there are steps. You gotta have to go from A to B to C to D, and that's what I help my students do is master their mind, master energy, and then bring the mind and energy into the step, help people understand like what step are you at. And so
Mhm.
some things asking myself one more thing about like where are we as a species? I think a lot of people think, you know, like the world is coming apart. I actually think we're about to have, I'm gonna bring this out. I got a little thing called rebirth. Can you see that? A
Yeah, see
little
it?
stone, yeah, rebirth. And this is on my thing. And I think we're about to go through a rebirth. So what happens during a collective rebirth is sometimes the boils, like the pot's really boiling, and people are like, ah, that's crazy. But
Yeah.
that's actually like whether you're an individual or collective, that's when people are like, I can't, whatever we're doing, we can't do it anymore. It's called the
Right.
enough of this moment. So I feel like we're headed rapidly, and 2025 might be the year here. I think I'm getting a feeling it is the year where we get this enough of this. We realize there are certain patterns that we're doing that are just dysfunctional, that are root, and we're ready to change that. And that's good. If you have a context where you could see, okay, there's a lot of chaos near, but maybe this means I need to learn something, learn to perceive life differently. That's when we can shift like a collective thing. So I'm imagining I'm gonna, yeah, just I'll say, like, I think there's a lot of different worldviews, there's a lot of polarities. So we have to get to that meta-narrative where we can make sense of it all. It's like, why do people believe all these different things? And like the Buddha's kind of said, it's like, hey, we don't really see life as it is, we see it as we are. And what if we start
Mhm.
getting more compassionate and more curious about how other people see it before we judge them?
Do you want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free meditate, make money meditation today.
Okay, that's something to reflect back on, perhaps right there.
Hmm.
We don't see the world as it is, and we see it as we are. That's
Yes.
something to sit with for people, right? Just even that one truth is a great one for people
Yeah.
to sit with for a moment by seeing things as they are, so to speak. Because sometimes we're told not to do that, right? We're told now you should see a negative. You should be mad. You should be angry, or you should whitewash it. Pink
Mm.
lights, yeah, surrounded with angels, and
Yeah.
only see the highest, only in it. And then we create that world. And so, what's your take on that? Like seeing things as they are. I mean, that might be confusing to some minds, right? Like, what do you
Yeah.
mean? It's all crap. That's how it is, you know.
Well, yeah, but it's, people are seeing it all crap. They're using their lower mind and they're judging it wrong.
Right.
And so that's fine. It's just like cause and effect. It's like
Hmm.
if you're seeing things as bad, then you're projecting bad, and you got bad. You're gonna have your energy's gonna be poo, and you're not gonna like have energy to do have fun and do other things. It's like the only certain experiences are available in that state of mind. So first off, like I think what you said, like seeing all bad or all good. We don't. To me, I mean, the ultimate place to get to, and it takes time to get there, is to see all of it like in front of you, and all of it serves. And like, so it's like I don't know. I got Ganesh back here. He's into like optimizing, and he's like is known for his intelligence and removing obstacles. So the what when channel Ganesh, he's like, yeah, you put the whole thing in front of you, and like the how do you make it all? I think one of his hands, he's got like a treat, a puja or something like that. How do you make it all a treat? He's like, well, there's the good stuff where you get to enjoy that, and you're just like, oh, that's amazing. And then the Ganesha in me is like, hey, there's still challenges in the world, and I like challenges. We could make challenges wrong or bad, but all we could acknowledge we're all the divine co-creating, and we got problems to figure out. So we could make them wrong, like, oh, I want it all to be perfect, or like, hey, screw it, we're out, accept the truth. We're on a hero's journey, a collective hero's journey to bring heaven on earth, Shambhala, and we got to figure out how to remove these obstacles. So so you could look at the view as like these people are screwing it up, which is called like victim mindset and not taking a, or I would be like, hey, this is all our problems, and nobody's going to solve it ourselves. I love Yeshua, but I don't really believe like one person could come down and change the world. I think the best, if I think it's just up to all of us to share best practices. If Yeshua does come in a body, I imagine he'd be seeing, like, as we would, like, all he can do is point to things because we are the change. We are the ultimate reality experience itself. It's up to all of us. So, I mean, I think the second coming of the Christ is a spiritual movement of us, and it's not just about Christianity. It's Buddhism too. It's Shambhala, and I'm sure the Hindus and the Muslims and all of them have their own version of this. And I bet my experience is that each religion has something to share. There are different patterns. They geeked out for one reason or another in a certain way. And if we all get curious, like a lot of people, just diversity movement's big, but it's all kind of, at least in the mainstream, it's hung up on color and race and gender. Well, we should keep talking about those things. I'm not making any of that wrong, but we should expand it. Let's just get curious about perspectives. Why do some people love Trump? Why do some people, why are some people conspiracy people? Like, why are something like, I mean, when I look into all those worlds, I'm like, there's partial truth in everything. And so when
Right.
we stop just judging each one is wrong and saying, all right, and we start dialoguing with higher energies, like, I'm going to get curious. How does Daniel see the world? Why has he got a different view than me? And like, I want you to get, like, if we bring more curiosity to our conversations and less judgment. What if we go start with curiosity, both people share back and forth, and then if we have to make sometimes that's enough. Like just sharing back and forth is the gift. If there's for some reason we got to make like a joint decision after we share, especially if it's something important, if we're just going out for ice cream, it's maybe not a big decision. We don't have a long talk, but you know what I'm saying? Like if it's something important, we want to really get to know what's the other person's saying. So there are a lot. My facilitator and me wants to share. There's a lot of best practices in how to have those kinds of conversations, and that would be part of the patterns part that I'd like to see spread, so that we all can like talk deeper instead of killing each other, going to war. A lot more dialogue. Let's do find, replace, end war, more just healthy, energized, facilitated dialogue and crisis points.
Right. Right. We feel so threatened that we don't want to, be present and listen. Right. So
Hmm.
then like you said, the lower mind takes over and it's like, all right, how do I survive or how do I eliminate the threat? And therefore it could
Hmm.
lead to things like killing people, demonizing people and things like that. I always remark on the fact that, there was some, I don't know. I think he was like a minister type of person or whatever. I forget
Hmm.
what his station was, but he was a black man, and he would talk to Klansmen.
Hmm.
He says he would literally just sit down and agree with their perspective at first. Like he'd be like, "I could
Hmm.
see your perspective. I could see why you would
Yeah.
think that, right?" And then afterwards, he'd go through it, and then after they felt heard, they were able to hear
Yes.
him, and he would transform them consistently. Like they would completely be done with the whole thing then. And so, but most people are like, they don't deserve that. They deserve to be punished. They deserve to be judged. They deserve, who deserves not to experience that is you. You don't want that judgment. You don't want it.
Mm.
Forget about what it does for them. You don't want it. Nobody needs it. Nobody needs it. So, yeah, I think this is really powerful is to realize this non-judgment, right? Like
Yes.
non-judgment type of a way approach to life because in an instant we judge things and maybe we do sort of need it for physical survival in moments maybe, but that's even debatable for sure. But especially if you're not actualized, if you're not in Shambhala.
Hmm.
But as you get more actualized, I believe like you need very little sense of like judging things right or wrong or any of that whatsoever.
Yes.
So, okay, so with all that being said, the goes by fast, but we introduced people to some ideas here. And what I hear as a kind of a quick recap is we have to learn to go to higher ground, within ourselves and to get in a new energy state, to see things from, higher perspective. And that's where we get the mastery of energy and your mind, and we can notice and be aware of patterns that are going on in our world, in the universe, or there's so much that goes on. And but then I know that you help people to navigate maybe what perspectives they're holding around things in their life and what's happening for them, and to help them to spiritually tune up and go to another level, and to enter into Shambhala, right? So,
Mhm.
so I'd love for you to share. I know you have a gift for everybody today. Would you like to go ahead and share about that now?
Yes, yeah. If you're looking for an upgrade with your energy or your mind or your patterns, I've got seven 30 minutes free things, and we'll put a link there with a calendar so you can find a time, and I'm excited to serve. That's what I'm here to do, is to help people who are here to co-create this heaven on earth, Shambhala.
Hmm. Yeah, and so during that time together with you, what will they experience? Tell them a little bit more about that.
Yeah, yeah, great. Thanks for so basically I ask each person to come with like what is their what I call their spiritual edge. What is the one thing that they're like really excited? Like if I could have a change or a miracle in this area of my life, that would be amazing. And so they come to that. I'll ask in the beginning of it, I'll ask them a bunch of questions so I can understand their context. I'll help them be seen and make sure I'm on the same page. And then I'll give them either probably an experience and some tools that will shift them to do it. So the way I work with my clients is always these three parts. It's really simple. There's the assessment part, and then there's like, okay, some discussion about some new approaches, and then integration. So each person will leave with something to help them ground what I just taught them into their daily life.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, that's I know you get a big opening and shift by meeting with Jonathan for sure. Yeah, I know that's true, the people he works with. So, and Jonathan, I'm so grateful that you've shared today. And yeah, we're the type of people we could talk for hours because we're like-minded, and go on and on for this stuff for hours, but we won't do that today. But grateful that you shared what you shared today. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I always enjoy our
For
conversations.
listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.